rounds of fighting in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, this man is a Muay Thai fighter with a professional record of 4 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighed in at 156 pounds. From Luton, England, ladies and gentlemen, Dale Hardiman. His opponent fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial arts fighter with a professional record of 7 wins, 9 losses, with 5 wins coming by TKO. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed in at 156 pounds. From Croydon, England, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Too Hot Jansen. And when the action gets underway, your referee for this contest is Mark Woodard.
So, Stephen, as I said, the thing that excites me here about Scott is I feel he's really maturing at the right age for maturity. He's a fully grown man now at 30. I mean, his record 7-9, you can look at it and think, but we know there's the likes of Phil Baroni on there. He's fought at a high level, this man.
Yes, he really has, and he was so calm and stalking back and forth in his corner as if he had a secret in his eyes that he's going to try and pull out on Hardiman.
So Dale Hardiman, this would be a really good scout for him, especially here at BAMMA, where Scott Jansen is really making a name for himself.
So many different elements in a fight. Should you set the pace? Should you hang back and wait for a counter? And at the moment, both gents are choosing the latter.
Well, what I find intriguing, Stephen, is when you mentioned before that although you look at his record and his wins are by submission, that Hardiman likes to strike. Well, if he does, he's got the perfect partner in Scott Jansen for him. Will he follow that through in this fight?
Jansen being uncharacteristically patient, staying on the outside, but that's a chopping low kick, which was partly deflected by Hardiman.
Well, this is what I said, Steve. No, the Superman punch, there's a maturity, there's an actual look of experience about him now.
And there's nothing better than the sight of composure and focus at the same time when you're moving forward as Jansen is.
Now, one thing I want to pick you up on that you said earlier is that sometimes when you get that, you lose that edge as well, that aggressive spark. I think that's the perfect thing with Jansen is he hasn't lost that. He still wants to hurt and knock out his opponents. He just waits for the right time now.
If you really follow the timeline of Jansen, you notice that his technique and his stance and his arm shields are pretty much getting into perfect position. So I think that he's going to explode, and I think that left hook is going to be in the mix.
Now, as you say that, the one thing I want to pick up now is Dale Hardiman. I know there's a feeling out process, but for me, just maybe a little bit too cautious at the moment.
Maybe so, but it's a sign of respect. And if you come out there guns a-blazing and you leave your head open for a guillotine or something like this, now here we go, they enter the clinch. They got the over-under, and Hardiman gets the trip takedown into side control.
And in the past, this is one of the areas where Scott Jansen, if he had a weakness, is once you got past his striking skills to the floor. Now, he said he's travelled. This is a perfect opportunity now to see how much he's picked up on ground defence.
Well, yeah, exactly, because he's got to work right now to get that right knee under the body of Hardiman to try and get guard or half guard, because when he's side mounted like this, Hardiman's got all kinds of options. Arm triangle choke. He's got there's a number of things he can do, or he can posture up and just start hammer fisting and elbowing away at the now facing up Jansen.
Now, I had only just said that I felt that maybe Hardiman was too cautious, but credit to him, when he had the opportunity, he took his man down.
It was a really wise strategy, because we were saying directly before that how it was pretty much moving into a slower paced match, but it really got, and let's give credit here, Jansen popped back up.
Well, we said that in the past that one of his problems might have been his ground defense. I think a question's just been answered there.
Yeah, it really was, because we saw Hardiman pass from one side to the other. There's a slap, nothing. Oh, that roundhouse kick has got some power on it.
Well, you know, Stephen, with both of us with the Thai boxing, when you take a front or cheap kick to the face, it's a big insult. And you saw Jansen's Thai instincts there come back with 2 big kicks.
Somebody's gum shield went out, and we've got Jansen on top. Hardiman with the guard closed up. trying to work wrist control to avoid being punched.
And I think we're in this position as a direct response of that front kick. It really suddenly kicked Jansen into a different gear.
It really did. And, you know, we've talked about this before, Malcolm. The front kick to the face. Okay, he headbutted him. And you can't do headbutts whatsoever. And it was to the body. And it really didn't do a lot of damage.
But when we mentioned that maybe it would take that fire away from someone, I think he's answered that one as well, Steve.
Yeah, he's still got a little bit of that street in him. One time I saw a guy headbutt a guy in the sternum in Brazil, and he broke his sternum. It's a nasty weapon when used right. Of course, we can't really use it in modern mixed martial arts anymore.
No, but I mean, to be fair, it is a really traditional English weapon there, Mr. Quadras, that we have given to the world willingly.
And you taught me a lesson when you called it, when he nutted someone, which was a headbutt.
That's right, he put the nut in.
Yeah. Fight professor learned from Mr. Martin. He's got the duck under and the takedown. Hardiman on top.
One of the things I'm impressed with Dale Hardiman, when he has had the opportunity where Scott has just been a bit wild, he's taken it, hasn't he, and got his man to ground.
It was beautiful timing under that punching exchange by Jansen. Jansen got a little bit lazy and throwing those punches a little bit slow, and Hardiman ducked under, got him on his back, and now he's trying to figure out whether, well, the round is over. It was a really excellent match, and back and forth. I would have to say the takedowns may have been the edge for Hardiman.
Yes, I said Scott Jansen, we saw signs, just a couple creeping in, of that old style of his that made him so exciting but a bit reckless. And I think that's the term I'm looking for. Great Superman punch, Stephen, but signs of a little bit of recklessness in that first round.
Well, that was pretty much, you know, his trade beforehand. I mean, he's tried to become more technical and less reckless, but a lot of times when you throw these punches like this and you wait there too long, you're going to get taken down like that, and the judges are going to really consider that as part of the game.
So we've got it balanced. But having said that, I think I'm right in saying that you're only just possibly edging to Hardiman, and maybe just a draw even.
Yeah, it was a close round because Jansen did land the Superman punch. He landed the slap kick to the face. So it was one of those things, 2 takedowns. But in that first takedown that Hardiman did, he was going for submissions and he's passing and using a lot of control. So the judges may have leaned toward Hardiman in that round.
So we go into the second round, and the less experienced Dale Hardiman showing respect, but certainly not too much, which we've seen as a problem for fighters before. And let's see if Jansen can get back behind that tight technique that we saw in BAMMA 6, because it's had a bit of a wake-up call from Hardiman.
Yeah, he has. And one thing that Jansen has got to think about in those punching exchanges, going for a 1-2 and then fade back, because when you go for 1-2-3, and look right here, we got the low kick, which got trapped. He's on his back once again. He could use the fence to get back up, and I think it was right on the cup, and you heard the pop sound. The kick, back control by Hardiman, and this could be a big problem for Jansen.
Well, he again, as we mentioned earlier, one of the problems for him is he's one of those fighters, because of the style he fights, is if you're going to lose, if you look at his record, a lot of the time it is the submission.
Yeah, he had a chance there to wall walk, as Pat Militich says, up the fence when he had his back to the fence, but he didn't do that, and he paid a price, because now Hardiman has got that choke in, and this looks deep.
Well, this is the speciality series tap.
There it is, rear naked choke.
The fight professor is back. He calls it again, and again, the warning signs were there in the first round, weren't they, Stephen? That back not being sloppy, but it was a sloppy kick.
You know, it was a situation where Jansen was thinking too much, and you could see it in his eyes. When he was up against the fence, he had opportunities to stand back up, but he was thinking, what should I do here? And at the same time, Hardiman was in automatic pilot pass from top position into back control. Here we have the takedown off the leg, and right here, Jansen could have got back up if he would have let go and just stood back up with his hands, but he didn't. He got mounted, and then he turned his back, which was a big mistake. And Hardiman capitalized, got the leg hooks in, slapped the choke in, and you could see that Jansen didn't even try and peel the arm off once he got back control. He didn't control the wrists from behind. He didn't try and peel the arm. He was too late on this particular thing, and he paid the price by getting tapped out.
The thing that really impressed me about Hardiman was whenever he was offered an opportunity, he took it.
Yes, he did. And it was a situation where he did everything automatically. And as I said before, sometimes when you get inside the cage, you're an automatic pilot. You can't think about what you're doing. You've got to just do.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Woodard has called a stop to this fight at 1:16 of the second round. Declaring the winner by rear naked choke out of the red corner, Dale Hardiman.